Ever since the big Xbox and Bethesda showcase back in June this year, it got kinda quiet around the Xbox first-party games. The major news were always around the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and because of the big news drop with the CMA yesterday, a lot of people missed that we got some interesting news around a bunch of Xbox first-party games. So in today's video we are going to dive into the update on Xbox first-party content. Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, with my latest video on some really cool infos that we have received regarding Xbox first-party games. And before we dive into this, I want to ask you for a quick favor. If you end up enjoying this video, it would be awesome of you to consider to hit the like and subscribe button and maybe even turn on the notification bell to not miss out on future content. Okay, thank you guys, you are awesome, and now let's talk about Xbox first-party games. In the latest episode of Major Nelson's podcast, Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, was interviewed, and he dropped quite some interesting things about games like Starfield, Double Fine, In Exile, Forza and State of Decay 3. So we are going to dissect what he has announced and put it into perspective what it means for the Xbox first-party roadmap and other games in development. In this interview with Major Nelson here, he was asked about some of the games that he played recently from the Xbox first-party studios. So he started by explaining that the upcoming games that are really close to launch all coming together really well. Of course, he likes the progress of Redfall and especially Starfield. Starfield continues to surprise him with every new build that he sees, and this is in line with some other news that we got 2 days ago where the lead composer Einan Sir of Starfield was interviewed. He had to say the following: Starfield is a deep game, it's a philosophical game, it's a game that will consume a lot of you. If you want to play Starfield, it'll consume a lot of your being. I believe that after Starfield you will be a bit of, I wouldn't say changed person, but it will definitely give you another perspective, maybe a deeper perspective to your whole being. This is actually quite interesting that Starfield is not just a deep RPG, but it really tries to deliver a message and a deeper story. If we compare that to previous Bethesda games, this is definitely something new. While previous Bethesda games did have a cool story such as Skyrim or especially Fallout 3, everything looks like Starfield is gonna take it to another level. So no surprise here that this is really one of the most anticipated games of 2023. But let's continue with head of Xbox Game Studios Matt Booty. He dropped something interesting on a side note, and that was when he was talking about Double Fine. He mentioned that recently they went over to Double Fine and reviewed their games. Yes, you heard correctly. Games, as in multiple games. We knew that Double Fine worked on another project besides Psychonauts 2, but he made it sound like they have multiple games in actual development. Early stage, but he also mentioned that there are some really cool concepts from them. And given how creative Double Fine was in their last games, if you remember for instance Brutal Legend or my personal game of the year last year, Psychonauts 2, you know that Double Fine has some really cool ideas and unique gameplay elements in their game. They never get boring or repetitive, and I cannot wait to see what Tim Schafer and his teams are cooking up. But let's talk about the biggest news item coming out of this interview with Matt, and that is about Undead Labs and State of Decay 3. Yes, he talked about that game and the progress that the team is making, and then he dropped the info that the Coalition, makers of the Gears of War games, are working with Undead Labs on State of Decay 3 and especially supporting them in Unreal Engine 5 topics. We have heard it so many times that one of the big things with the Xbox first-party roster is, and that there are collaborations in between the studios and that they support each other, and we get to that in a second a bit more in detail, but that a highly talented studio like the Coalition is actually working with Undead Labs is definitely new. And can you imagine what that means for State of Decay 3? Listen, part 2 was great, such a highly addictive game, the core gameplay loop was fantastic, but you could definitely tell from a technical perspective that it was done by a smaller studio with lesser funding. Now, the masters of Unreal Engine 5 come in and support them in engine work. You know that this game is gonna look absolutely amazing in Unreal 5. We can expect top-notch lighting, superb texture work, etc, etc. And Undead Labs obviously strives for high goals. Last year we learned that they actually founded a new studio, a new support studio that is mainly focusing on animations and stuff. They wanna aim for that high quality, top-notch animation work, and with the Coalition helping now with the graphics and other technical aspects, this game is definitely going to be on another level than State of Decay 2. And by the way, knowing that the Coalition is now working closely together with Undead Labs Labs, you know that this specialized studio for animations will also support other games in the Xbox first-party roster, like probably the next Gears of War game. Now, I think this is exciting to hear that this is a shared development of State of Decay 3, and if you look at the announcement trailer back in 2020, you can really tell that this game aims to be a AAA quality game. And that's what this trailer basically screams at you. With the support of the Coalition, I have no doubt that Undead Labs is going to deliver an incredible experience, and if you look at how well they support State of Decay 2, you know that they used these updates as a test field for Part 3. Another interesting mention in the interview with Matt Booty was that one of the most exciting things for him is the game that inXile is working on. He has confirmed that Phil Spencer recently went over to inXile with him and he actually played the game. The inXile Twitter account officially announced that it's okay to be jealous, but Matt Booty confirmed that their game has some very unique gameplay elements and real cool concepts in there, and that this makes Project Cobalt from inXile so exciting. Unfortunately, we still don't have any news in what that game actually will be, whether the rumors are true about the setting being more like a steampunk thing or something else. But it's always good to know that the game is already in a playable state, and we know it's going to run in Unreal 5, and you bet that inXile is also getting the shared knowledge from other studios. And that sharing of technology and know-how across the Xbox first-party studios was also part of the interview. Matt Booty confirmed that the Xbox first-party studios have so-called summits. He mentioned that in the last year or so they had at least around 25 of those so-called summits that all have dedicated topics, like they have one summit for physics, one for animation, one for user interfaces, and so on. And in these summits, all the developers from the studios that are actually working on the respective topics come together and share their knowledge. And he also emphasized that this is not just about sharing the same engine, but ideas, concepts, solutions to problems, and many other things is what is being exchanged in between the developers. But with that, I already want to wrap it up. This was quite an interesting interview. I didn't expect to get these kind of news bits out of this, and it is really good to hear about some of the games that we haven't heard or seen in a while. Back at the big Xbox and Bethesda showcase in June, Microsoft decided to only show games that come out in the next 12 months, and it is no secret that I think it was a big mistake, because with that they limited themselves and were not able to show the next inXile game that is apparently so exciting, or give us a teaser for the next Double Fine game, or show State of Decay 3, which has been in development for years and was announced in 2020. But at least with these kind of interviews we are getting some more information, and a couple of games showcases are around the corner, like the Tokyo Game Showcase. We get the Marvel and Disney event at the end of the year. Xbox has been no stranger to the Game Awards. And that's the thing with Xbox. Even though 2022 is a real bummer for them, the future of Xbox is more exciting than ever, and hearing what Matt Booty had to say about collaboration in between the studios has me even more excited for the future of Xbox games. And I also want to hear from you. Are you excited about the future of Xbox, and what do you think about these collaborations, and especially the Coalition helping out with State of Decay 3? But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button as well as the notification bell. I also want to say a big thank you to everyone who supports this channel with the channel memberships to get early access to all my videos, with the super thanks in the comment sections, and of course the super chats, and simply being there at the weekly gaming show I have here on my channel. You guys are the best community there is, and besides here on YouTube, you can also hit me up on Twitter, where I share a lot of opinions and gaming discussions. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I see you the next time, and game on!